Testing, testing. Lorraine, can you hear me?
Hi, yes, I can hear you.
Excellent. We can hear you too.
Great.
Lorraine, do you have a presentation that you wanted to put together for this? Or, sorry, present today.
No, I think I'll just, I know we're pressed for time, but I'll just chat a little bit and answer any questions.
Roger that.
Great.
Okay, Madam Mayor, we are live streaming and recording and everything looks right and we're ready to go whenever you are.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. Appreciate that. Thank you everyone for your patience. It is 5:32 on August 5th, 2025, and I now call to order the City of College Place City Council Workshop. City Clerk Garcia, will you please take roll call?
Yes, ma'am. Councilmember Cleveland,
Present.
Councilmember Espinoza,
Present.
Councilmember Peterson,
Present.
Councilmember Williams,
Present.
Councilmember Sherman,
Present.
Councilmember Boyle.
Present.
We do have a quorum.
Excellent. Thank you. Will you all please join me in Pledge of Allegiance? It's now time for public comment. City Clerk Garcia, did anyone submit a written comment in advance or request to speak via telephone or virtually?
No, ma'am.
All right. If anyone in council chambers would like to speak during a public comment regarding something that's not on today's agenda, please raise your hand. All right. Seeing none, we're going to move on to our workshop topics, which are 5 of them. First, Walla Walla YMCA Chief Executive Officer, Ms. Karen Hedin, joins us tonight to discuss with the council the Washington State Department of Commerce Early Learning Facilities Grant Program, which could help fund construction of Lions Park Community Building and the Child Care Center. Ms. Hedin, please step up. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
being here.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you all. This is a grant that will not come open until September, and then we have till October to close it. It comes open fast, it closes fast. We can apply for up to $2 million in construction costs for the community center, of which the Child Care Center is a part. They very much welcome the community involvement around this center. So while it's a child care grant by Commerce, the fact that it has the rural library is a wonderful push. So I'm happy to take the lead on drafting this. This will be my 8th Commerce grant. I've done several of these, as well as federal grants. Commerce is very easy to work with, and this is a sweet spot area for them that they very much support. So again, we can apply for up to $2 million. The couple things that are pointed out here in this little attachment, and then one I really want to pull the council's attention to, they are for reimbursement. So as the monies are spent, it's a reimbursement grant. I will tell you, when I submit on a Monday, I'm paid by Wednesday. That's how good Commerce is. There's been none of the rigmarole and
That's a
concern.
reassurance.
It's very good reassurance. As a YMCA, I can't put the money out without knowing it's coming back in. And we're very fortunate usually to have outstanding grants partners on the Commerce side of the house. It must result in a licensed childcare facility. That has been the purpose and goal of this childcare component of the community center from the start. Why licensed? Because a licensed facility means families who are eligible can qualify for state fee support. So while childcare fees are going up, state support helps them mitigate some of those expenses out of pocket. It is a 10-year commitment period. And so here's the caveat for the council to consider, because this is your facility on your owned property. And so in these types of Commerce grants, they will ask for typically a lien for 10 years. They gave me pause when the first time they asked for a lien on the YMCA, which has been in business for 137 years. But we had our council review the last several I've been awarded. They go away after the 10 years. There's nothing you have to do. They're just really making sure that you're using the money for the purpose for which it's intended. But we will always have our lawyers review any of those documents. And if council has legal counsel that it would like to review, my job is to cooperate, of course, and work with you, because it's, again, your land that would have lien against it, your property. The grants are over $250,000, as they say, must be secured by real estate. So the fact that, again, this is your real estate. So working with someone here in the council or consulting with the council or staff would be really appreciated. I would just ask you to give me someone who's a point of contact if you'd like me to drive the train, or if you'd like me to just be a drafter with someone here on the council. I'm open to either. So with that, I'll leave it for some questions, open it for some questions.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Cleveland.
No questions, but thank you for coming in today and
Sure.
keeping us up to date.
Sure.
Councilmember Peterson.
We were just had a quick conversation here. This is a state, obviously, fund, not a federal.
It is state commerce, right?
Um,
And these funds are already pledged for the 25-27 biennium.
and so wording of grants cannot jeopardize them and what?
Not at all.
Yeah,
No.
okay.
Yeah. Yes, great question. Yeah. As a matter of fact, such a good question. We had a 23-25 biennium grant that was for just the design development. And as you may know, we brought over $100 and some $1,000. I want to say it's $101,000 towards the current architectural work that's going on for the Lions Club Community Center, specific to the child care component. So we've been able to reduce that expenditure, whether or not it's the Y or someone else. And by the way, while we get the grant, at the end of the day, if the Y for some reason didn't choose to go forward as the licensed child care center, the MOU gives you the right to step in and have someone else take it. But the grant fundings go through regardless. Good. Yeah.
My apologies, I skipped Councilmember Espinosa,
sorry.
who's online. Councilmember Espinosa, questions or comments?
Yeah, quick question. So in the past, we talked about the design of the building. The first floor would include a commercial kitchen and a meeting area, and then the second floor would be the child care facility. What are you envisioning as far as this grant in terms of the building itself? What would that make it look like in the end?
Yes. Thank you. Good question. So actually in the current design, as I understand it, on the first floor is the child care center, the community hall, and the commercial kitchen. And then upstairs is completely the rural library, which leaves, the design has been very well thought out. It gives a lot of flexibility for the public to hit and access the public library without coming into the childcare space, which again will be licensed. So that's the design development. That's the architectural fees, the schematics, all the design work that's been going on with the city staff and personnel here. This next ELF grant, it's called Early Learning Facilities Grant, is the actual construction phase. So again, working with the city, I think at one time Mike had given me some numbers of what we expected the cost to be, and your architects will come up with some final cost, I believe, of the full out build, and this will be a component of that. Now, around that, there are other commercial or commerce grants coming available. One is a community center grant that will be coming available, I think, also in September or October, and I will keep you all aware of that. So we would fund under this grant, if awarded, the component that would be the child care center. So let's say it's a $6 million build of the complete community center. I don't know if the rural library has funding that they're bringing to this, but we would be able to bring at least a good component of that to building out that infrastructure. So, and by the way, I would write this grant pretty cleverly to include that community center and commercial kitchen. So,
Okay.
because those are beneficial to a child care center. Yeah. I will say, just for comfort, I've been writing grants for over 45 years. I've done over about $100 million in grants in my lifetime. At the Y alone, I've done 8 million in my 6 years there. So I'm really great, not just at writing them, but at managing grants. I take that part as seriously as the drafting, writing. So the legal, the financial, I do all the reporting on all of our grants at the Y. So I'm very comfortable in that role, but if you need more time with me or to understand that, I'm happy to spend that time.
Councilmember Williams.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
I really appreciate you coming and the help that you've already been for us. So would the child care center be restricted to children of low income families?
So a child care center under state law has to be open to anyone.
Okay.
But what we try to do, and it's just the nature of the beast these days, that most people can't afford childcare.
Exactly.
And so unfortunately, with the current state budget, they limited what centers are able to, center families are able to get in terms of their reimbursement rates until the next biennial budget. It was mandated in this legislation, is my understanding, but they kicked the tire down the road. So we're still fighting that. The YMCAs in Washington State are the largest providers of childcare in this state. So you can imagine we're pretty fierce advocates on this. Yeah.
And then could you explain the lien just a little bit more? So does it mean that if for some reason before 10 years is up, we stop the childcare center, then we have to pay back?
No,
Is that what
you
kind
you
of
really
thing it
never
is?
have to pay it back is my
Okay.
understanding. It's just that you've shown the money in good faith and the building exists. You built this.
Okay.
And usually commerce has been, I mean, I built a yurt, for example, under a commerce grant, and it was for a licensed program. At the end of the day, you could not find the staff specific to that program. We went back and said, okay, we're going to call it still licensed, but a different program. And commerce just said, that's just fine. So, yeah.
I hope that this is a permanent thing because we desperately need daycare.
I think it will be.
So, but I just wanted to be.
And while it wants to be
cautious.
licensed at the, if commerce and the state doesn't continue to fund childcare, then I would make that a strong argument. That,
Exactly.
you got to help us.
And how soon do you need to know how much money we think the childcare part would take? So how soon do you need to know what the?
What would help
amount
is to know the full
that amount.
vote, I'll call it, by September 1, I think is when this grant opened. So we have until October, middle of October to submit. So sometime in that September period, I'll be drafting. And I believe under the current design development phase, that's well within their time frame that they were going to have at least, it's not a final budget. It's construction. Nothing's final until you.
I've
open
been
it.
gone for like 6 weeks, so I have no idea was what that phase
Okay,
meant.
Yeah. And I want to say, and correct me, I think you've been in some of the more recent meetings than I have, but I want to say it was about a $6 million estimated build. Is that fair?
I think you're close. I have so many different projects with different numbers
Was that fair?
that
I think we're
don't know that number off
short
the top of
still.
I think we are short.
Maybe that's what it was, short 6.
Yeah.
We're
that
still
sounds
short 5 to 6 million, right, of what we've raised so far.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think it's more like a 15.
Yeah, my recollection
Mike-
was around 20 million
Mike was.
Really? Okay.
for the
It
whole
is an
building.
expensive project.
Yeah.
Right, and it's getting more expensive as we start going through design and looking at what's really needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, I've been gone for a while, so I'm probably totally wrong.
Yeah.
And then my final question, I think, is, so is this just for construction? Would it include like furnishings
It
or,
typically does not.
Okay.
But that said,
but
those grants are
built-ins?
easy to find. So
Okay.
I just today received a $10,000 one. I just received last week a $134,000 one just for the playfield equipment alone.
Oh, sweet.
So those grants are out there. I'm very impressed with some of the foundations, not the states or the feds, but the foundations are coming through very strong. And by the way, I'll put this out there. Again, there's no guarantees with grants, but
Obviously.
I'd be delighted to work with the council on this bigger nut that we still need to fill, because there's some wonderful foundations that fund just this type of program. And it's
And
such
maybe
an
park
important center.
benches?
Pardon me?
Maybe park benches?
Absolutely. You can put the whole
Yeah.
nut together and
It's-
they fund. Yeah.
It's been pointed out to me by a number of people that our brand new park, which is amazing, could use some benches. So-
That's a no, it's a whole other job, but
Yeah.
we're still waiting on. the
Maybe something you
dust
want
to
your businesses in town to contribute their parks
Thank
and
you.
put their name on it. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you I don't want to take your time,
settle.
but
Councilmember Sherman, questions?
No questions. Thank you so much for being able and willing to partner with us on this. This is
absolutely.
exciting.
College Place is a vital growing community in our view, and we have long strategized to have a presence here and to be able to help. I don't know if you know this, but we are already busing kids from College Place to the Y, which makes no sense to me. So we'd love to better serve the community in the community.
Be great. Thank you.
Councilmember Boyle.
So first of all, thank you so much for being willing to
Sure.
take kind of the lead on this, because I know you have done a few of these. So if this all moves forward and we get the funding and we're able to get everything put together, would the childcare center piece of the community center also help serve the summer program? that-
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's the beauty of it.
okay.
That we love Kiwanis Park. It's a phenomenal venue.
But in the.
But it gives us a shady
extra
spot. We're
heat
not
and
always
things
knocking
like
on the door
that,
at Davis. Yeah. And the school is incredibly generous with us,
Right,
but it just gives
sometimes
us
there's conflict.
a great.
That doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, great.
I just have some quick questions for you,
sure.
and then I'll let you go and have your evening. Will this grant be, are you thinking it could be done in the name, is it in the name of the YMCA or in the name of College Place?
You know, I think we can write it jointly.
Okay,
And I'm just happy to drive that train. And so once we get the RFP, which won't come out until September 1, and then we just fly fast. But
perfect.
the former one I received of this grant, it was easy to do it as a joint. I happened to do it as a single application at the time. But I did get matching funds from a foundation,
Oh, nice.
which is what we'll go after here if you need the funding. So
Sure.
that helps me. I'm trying not to be invasive or big, or noisy, nosy or anything, but just the more we can go after,
Absolutely.
let's wrap it up and do it.
No, we really appreciate, we really. And then lastly, should this grant come through, has the board, the YMCA's board has stated any expectations that they would, that they have regarding the
No.
childcare facility? Okay.
No, they really leave the management of the Y to me and my team. I
Okay.
have an outstanding childcare group, and they know that what we've been doing here has been very good. So we've funded 4 facilities now, including one in Milton Freewater, all through grants funding, and capacity is full, so they're very happy with it. And I say that with some caution because in Walla Walla, as you know, the school district numbers are declining a little bit. I think college places are holding steady, if not up.
Yeah.
All the more reason to knock on your door.
Yep, yep. Okay, any other questions or comments? Oh, Robert.
I was able to pull up, I think,
Oh, good.
it's hard to read on my phone, but our most recent estimate, and you were close, I think it's 6.3 million. I think we had about a 2.5 million shortfall, if I recall.
The total bill is 6.3 million?
That's what if I'm reading this right, and again, I'm looking out on my little screen on my phone.
That's also what I
Oh, good.
remembered. I was
That
only
seems
there
more
at the beginning.
reasonable to me for the type of facility. So that's doable.
Yes, the police,
Yeah.
I asked Mike before he left, how much more do I need to really focus to try to bring in for the community center? And he said that he recommends 5 to 6 more million,
Yeah, good.
but that's more. That would be doubling the price. So I'll have to look into that. That
See what you
would,
think.
And we can revisit this. I
that'd be
just figured I'd
flabbergasting.
chime in since I was able to pull it up on my phone.
And maybe-
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate that too. And I think too, once we've written this grant, the other, we would take it identically to a foundation. I always try to write a grant 3 times to 3 different parties.
Yeah.
Hoping that one of those fish is going to bite. So, and
Absolutely.
if we're really lucky, all 3 of them do. So that covers it.
Yeah, Councilmember Peterson has another question.
And I may be off here and I don't want to muddy the water, but there were some discussions also about the state, our senators.
Oh, absolutely.
There were discussions, I believe, that they had an interest of cutting a ribbon in Walla Walla at some point in the future. And yeah, so I don't know where that's at or you bet.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, it was interesting because I think they'd shown some interest, and I guess obviously that'd be at a federal level, but
Yeah, there are oftentimes, probably not this year, I wouldn't go for it, but supplemental funding. I've been very fortunate with our state senators to receive some of that, just tuck it in at the back of a bill funding, and it's valuable resource for the community, so they're happy to support it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we've
Yeah.
received some, okay, I just pulled up my spreadsheet that Mike left
Oh,
me.
good.
$10.1 million.
10.1?
Project cost, 10.1 million. We have state earmark, county, the Walla Walla County .09 economic development, ELF grant through via state pass through ELF grant. That's that your other grant that you have already? Because for 200,000?
Yeah.
Because he says yes already. And then we have a legislative earmark, and which I just received notification that we did get it for $1 million.
I want to confirm that.
And congressional directed spending that we're waiting for 2.5 million.
Especially during this quiet period, I would route back to all of your funding agencies. I'm sure you've already done this, but just confirm we're moving forward. I always just keep kind of my foot on the gas pedal with these folks so they don't think, oh, they're not doing. I actually have my granting agency call me frequently to say, we haven't heard from you. Everything okay? What's happening? Because they'll deploy funds elsewhere. So.
Yeah, I think I just got a text. I gotta look for it from Marv. Okay. So that's where we're at.
Yeah. Thank you for your time.
So much. This was
Thank you.
and this would be so helpful. So thank you, Karen.
Well, it's my pleasure to
I'll
serve.
follow up with you and I don't think we're gonna say, well, no, we don't want any help.
Anything we can do.
Thank you, Karen. Have a good evening.
Can I just make a comment?
Yes, please.
I would just say that as we are in a transition period in our administration, it would probably be an excellent time for us to ask Karen to take the lead on this.
And I'll just add that as you do to make that transition, anyone new coming into the position, I'm happy to hand the reins, transition, cooperate, co-lead, whatever. We're collaborators at the Y. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I need to make a correction. We did get 1 million, but it's for our water reservoir, not for the Lions Park.
Okay.
That's what it's for. Thank you, though. Okay, next, Spencer Montgomery from JUB Engineers sent out the Comprehensive Safety Action Plan last weekend for council review. There was a few documents attached. And so Mr. Montgomery's here for a short presentation to take council member questions. I believe it was quite exhaustive. So thank you for that work.
Yes, and I was told, try to keep it in 15 minutes. So the PowerPoint that you have today doesn't have any tables or maps or whatever. This is just kind of a big overview. Want to let you know we've been working with the UTAC. We've presented and discussed things with them 5 times, I think, in the last year. And we'll be back with them next week. They'll have the full draft. Hopefully they'll read it and have any questions. And if we need to wordsmith anything, whatever, we will come back here at your regular meeting on the 26th with a recommendation we expect from UTAC. And I would encourage you, I know you didn't have a lot of time. An original draft of this I gave to Mike back in May. He was out for a little while anyway, a little bit of confusion, I guess. I don't think that you got that. So I understand that you have not had a chance to see this much, but if you review things and you have some questions, feel free to send those and we'll discuss them with the UTAC next week on Thursday. Okay. I think you're familiar with JUB. I'm Spencer Montgomery. I think I've been here before a couple of years ago. Good to be back with you. You can go to the next slide. There are 7 components to the safety action plans. And by the way, this was funded by the USDOT and a grant that provided most of the funds for this effort. The 7 components, I'm going to focus on 2 of them that have the rest of the slides, but I wanted to mention a couple of them from this slide. Item 1 is a leadership commitment. And the city of College Place actually already has a resolution with a goal of 0 fatalities, 0 serious injuries. And that was adopted in 2022. Appendix A of this document has an update to that with some of the statistics updated. We kept the year the same. So the goal is still to have 0 fatalities by year 2032. Item 2 there is the planning structure. I mentioned that we've been working with the UTAC. One of the big things, the city has a local road safety plan that was created a few years ago in 2021, I believe. But there was no public involvement as part of that. It was just mostly a technical document. And what the USDOT was looking for was a significant public effort. So we had couple of surveys and public meetings that people could come to see what was going on, look at some of the data, things like that. And we got a really good response. We had over 450 comments received here in College Place, just about safety things. So that was pretty cool. It took a little while to sift through all that to see what it meant. And one of the tables in the document is a list of projects that are some of them less costly, some of them more so. Like, hey, I can't see at this intersection because there's bushes growing in the way, stuff like that. And those are great to get those kind of comments from people that live here and recognize some of the issues. Significant safety analysis, item 3, and I'm going to go into that a little bit more in a minute. And number 4 is the public engagement. Had a lot of effort there. Policy and process changes was one of the things that they required us to do. So we looked at some of your policy documents, the blue zones things that you've probably heard of a little bit before. We looked at those and made a few recommendations from that. And also what we call an ADA transition plan, which is Americans with Disabilities, some recommendations from that as well. I'm also going to spend a little bit of time talking about some of the strategies and project selections. And then the last thing I want to mention, number 7 here, is progress and transparency. They require us to do some monitoring. You know, are we trying to complete some of these projects? Are we working on the strategies? Monitor our accidents going down, especially where we're trying to implement some improvements. Okay, next slide. So this is, did that skip 2? There we go, safety analysis. So there's several pages and maps and tables that summarize some of the safety analysis that we did. Just wanted to point out in the last 5 years, or I should say during the 5-year period of the data that we have from 2019 to 2023, there were 440 crashes, including those on the state highway. Only 1 fatality and 4 were serious injuries, and those are the focus. So it's hard to get a lot of trends from so little data. I mean, that's good news and bad news, right? The intent of getting this grant was to be able to apply for implementation funds, and the USDOT is looking for projects to put on the ground that will address not just high accident locations, but places where you're having fatalities and serious injuries. And there aren't very many here. So that's a good thing and a bad thing, I guess, as far as getting money to fix things. A lot of maps there and things. Interesting things to me, I guess I'll mention a couple of statistics here. Of the 440 crashes, there was 116 that were entering at an angle, is the way they're labeled. So somebody at a stop sign or a traffic signal that's turning to get onto a different street. And then there was 94 rear end collisions, 63 parked cars, and 62 fixed objects. So a lot of single car accidents, a lot of distractions. And then, so if you look at another table, it gives the contributing circumstance, and the highest contributing circumstance is distracted driving. So that's a big deal here. It doesn't give the data as to how much of that might be phone related. Can't tell from the data that we're able to get. But those were interesting things to me, I guess. Next slide. So I'm going to spend the rest of the time talking about the strategies and project selections. And on this, I would highlight just there in yellow, it says that this should include 1 or more lists of community-wide multimodal and multidisciplinary projects that respond to safety problems and reflect community input, and also a prioritization of those projects. Okay. Next slide. So this slide here talks a little bit about the strategies. So remember, strategies, projects, and prioritization. So the strategies: implement the ADA transition plan, which the city, I believe, is doing. Okay, part of that, it deals with sidewalks, not just installing sidewalks, but fixing some of the ramps that help people to get from a wheelchair up onto the sidewalk where there are no ramps, pedestrian push buttons, things like that. Also, review sight distance triangles for vegetation and parking. I added that, parking obstructions. Some people just said, when I pull up to here at College Avenue, and I think it was B Street, and there's others as well, that these cars are pretty close to the intersection. So maybe we could examine some of those a little bit to just improve the sight distance. Pavement markings and signage maintenance. I think if people know where they're supposed to be, where the edge of the road is, the fog lines, things like that they can be more informed to make good driving decisions. Evaluate speeds. Speeds are the single most important factor in crash severity. And there's a little graphic down on the right there as what the likelihood is of surviving a crash if you were a pedestrian. So since there are so few severe injuries and fatalities in College Place, I noticed that all of them were pedestrian related. So that was interesting to me. And so those, if we can focus on keeping speeds down lower the best we can, then the likelihood of serious injury goes down significantly. Yes.
if I could just chime in right here, what it strikes me is we've been working for quite a while on adding sidewalks because one of the main issues is in a big part of our downtown core, we don't have sidewalks.
Right.
And so just that separation between pedestrian and vehicle by adding a sidewalk is huge. And it's definitely something that's got community support.
Yes.
So I think that's definitely one strategy that we're already doing, but should be included in here as something that we want to do more of because we've been having a hard time funding it.
Yeah, and I forget what the numbers are, but and how long was the public transportation benefit district? It's a little extra tax and there's different programs that the city's been putting towards that. That's for some of that's going towards sidewalks. Some of it I know is going towards pavement and things like that. So I agree. I think that that's a big part of what you'll see as you read through the document is let's give the bikes and peds a safe place to be. And if we can get them out from walking in the street, and there was one gentleman that came to the farmer's market in a wheelchair, a veteran, saying, I can't get from here to there in my wheelchair, and here's some specific places. So, and enforcement of traffic laws. Yes, sir.
Yeah, quick question. I think since we're on the slide, Meadowbrook, Highway 125. So I know a fatality there a few years back that may have been out of the scope. And I think we had one in College Place there on 12th and Larch. That was before we put in the four-way stop there, but
Okay.
pedestrian. I guess my question for you is, there's been discussions over the years now with the city of Walla Walla are putting in a roundabout potentially at
Myra Road.
Myra and 125. There are discussions of decreasing the speed limit on 125 all the way from Walla Walla all the way down to the four-way stop past College Place there. Because I know many times we've discussed that where especially at Meadowbrook and 125, you've got cars going through there at 65, 70. Tough place to get across sometimes, very scary. And I don't know if that's on the radar with you as far as the discussion of lowering that to 45 or 50 or.
Well, that would be a Washington State Department of Transportation decision.
Right. No,
I haven't been involved in any of those discussions, but I think that those would be appropriate ones. I know that we've looked at some of the other efforts that we do as a city engineer for you is looked at roundabout at College Avenue. I don't think there's been any detailed stuff with respect to the one at Meadowbrook, but potentially eventually all those could be roundabouts, which would slow traffic down, I think, significantly through there. Since this draft was prepared, we received the data for 2024 and there was one more fatality on Highway 125. It's kind of hard to deal with the state highway a little bit more so than the city streets.
and I don't want to guess what's going to happen, but I can imagine roundabout at Myra and 125, there's got to be some sort of speed reductions heading into that roundabout.
Yeah.
That would be effect potentially or. Okay.
Yes.
So this is something where the city or whoever has to continue to ask the state then for the consideration of lowering perhaps those speed limits on 125 in front of.
Right.
Walmart. Yeah.
Yeah, I would just continue with those efforts and as improvements are done, roundabouts just naturally slow traffic down and they design them so that you have to slow down to make the curves and that will help a lot. Yeah, we can talk about roundabouts for a while, but
great. Yeah. Thank you.
Next slide. So I'm not going to go through all these projects, but you can look at the bold. And these are the intersections that have, so this talk about projects. These are the intersections that have the most accidents. Now there aren't a lot, again, even the lowest one on the bottom right, Lamperti at Larch, I would say had 5 or 6 accidents in 5 years, which doesn't give a lot of data for trends, but it was on the top of the list, so to speak, right? So we've come up with some recommended projects that would address specific safety issues, okay? And this is for intersections. Next slide. And this here is for road segments. Again, these are the road segments between intersections with functionally classified streets that have a higher number of collisions, crashes that we've come up with a few things to look at as far as potential projects. And I'm not going to read through all those. Next slide. I mentioned a couple of other lists that you'll find in the document. We listed all of the other, well, I shouldn't say all, many other city projects that are in your transportation improvement program that should consider safety when they go to do these other improvements. Okay, if you're gonna add some feature at an intersection, look at things nearby, see if we can extend a sidewalk to meet up with a nearby sidewalk, things like that could have additional safety benefits by doing these other projects. They aren't necessarily in locations that have high accidents, but they could benefit from a safety perspective. And then another list that you'll find in there is projects identified through public comments that I had mentioned. Next slide. And this here, and you'll find several maps in the appendix about prioritization. And what we did is we looked at all the roads and all of the intersections. So there's 2 more lists. And these lists, I think, give the city different tools to be able to apply for grants. Okay. I'll be very honest here. I'm not sure how well the city will compete for implementation grants through this particular source, just because you don't have a lot of fatalities and serious injuries. But there are many, many other grants that have, for roadway capacity or whatever else you might be doing, that you can get safety points as part of through that grant process. And so my intent was to get you set up so that you can say, hey, this is on this list in our safety action plan, right? And it's at near the top, or one of our top 5 with respect to I'll call it vulnerability and there's a whole bunch of different things. Does it have a highest history of crashes? Does it have a lot of traffic on it? Is there a history of fatal or serious injury crashes? What are the crash rates, which takes the number of crashes against the amount of traffic? Proximity of disadvantaged users, including higher poverty, low car ownership. So if it's in a neighborhood, this road, any particular road segment is in a neighborhood where there's higher levels of poverty and more likelihood that those people might be walking or using transit, then that would fall higher on the list of prioritization for safety improvements. Was there a lot of public comment? Are people interested in getting something done there because they've seen things happen, or they feel uncomfortable walking or driving on a particular street? And then lack of sidewalks and safe routes to school or school zones, or on a transit route where you might have people walking to get to transit. So you'll find some tables in the document itself, and then the appendix, a whole bunch of maps and things that show the data that we use to prioritize all the streets, whether there's any accidents at all. Because one of the premises of the safety action plans is that we may have a whole bunch of roads that look the same, but accidents are showing up over here. But this road is very similar. It just doesn't have accidents today. So if we can do similar improvements to those roads, then we can hopefully reduce future accidents on those. So you can go to the last slide. Just says, thanks for letting me come here today. And we'll be back in 3 weeks to go over this. And don't anticipate going over the details. I may put a couple of maps up as all, but mostly take your questions and hopefully bring a recommendation from the UTAC for you to consider for adoption of the document. Do you have any questions today?
Councilmember Cleveland, no questions. Councilmember Espinosa?
No, just a comment. I think this is good as we look at growth for our community to continue to keep it safe. Appreciate the work that's being done and the plan to look to keep our community safe as we continue to move forward.
Councilmember Williams?
No, thank you. I haven't had time to read it. I'll read it before the UTAC.
Yeah, you'll get another chance at UTAC.
Councilmember Sherman?
No questions. Thank you for your presentation. It's helpful.
And Councilmember Boyle?
No questions. Good job at keeping your 15 minutes. I mean, like, Well
All
done.
right.
Thank you, though.
Awesome.
This is
Thank you.
appreciated. Mary Elizabeth?
Just to be clear, so College Place is safer on average,
Way safer.
way safer.
And there's some statistics in the document that say how you compare to the rest of the state as well.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
on a per capita basis.
Oh, wonderful.
So,
Something we might be able to use in some marketing for our community, perhaps.
yeah,
Sweet.
yeah, it's a safe place here to
Thank you.
travel. Not that we're perfect, right? But we're working at it and doing a pretty good job, I think. So, thank you.
Thank you. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Okay, next, let's see. GMP Consultants has completed all the preliminary council and staff interviews, I believe. You all had a chance to speak with them?
I did.
Okay,
I'm not,
so, if you had not spoken to them, then it's too late. Cause they've already moved forward, in the next phase already. Just speaking of that, emails will be sent out through this process, and some of them are very short notice emails. Ms. Monsiváis from GMP Consultants sends us requests. And then Mary Elizabeth will send them to the rest of the council for your feedback. Because really, she's asking us, but we really love to have your feedback contribute to that. So she'll forward you the emails and ask you. So if you get a check, please check your emails regularly so that you can get those and contribute to the decision makings that we're having here. Speaking with that, GMP Consultants would like to schedule a special meeting workshop. I believe we discussed that at the last council meeting of how we would prefer to do that. And the date they're looking at is September 22nd. This is the date they'll come to us with their preliminaries. By this point, they will already have gone through the initial resume submitted, weeding out anyone who does not qualify, and then doing initial interviews and then bringing forth who they have narrowed it down to us. We have two choices, 5:30 or 7:30 p.m. And I wanted to bring it to council to see what your preference would be. The 22nd, Mary Elizabeth, do you remember what
The
date?
22nd or the 22nd is preferred 20.
It's the second, right? So we decided we were going to go with the 22nd.
Except,
Not
that it matters.
And there's a 5:30 or a 7:30.
5:30 or 7, Mayor, sorry.
I'm sorry, or 7.
I can make this up.
You can do this.
Come back from,
Um,
not that.
well, this is a pretty important one because this is when they're going to bring candidates to us for us to look at.
says the interviews?
This is going to bring they've already done the initial interview. So they're going to bring the candidates' names that, from what we understood, correct? They're going to bring the candidates that they've narrowed it down to for us to look at their resumes and have those discussions.
Are there going to be council interviews like we did last time?
Yes, yes.
This is deciding who we'd interview.
So this is deciding who we're going to interview. Yeah, because,
So this will be shortening the short list to the interview list.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Sorry, I forgot you haven't been here. Sorry. So yes. So Councilmember Peterson can do a 7 p.m. that day, but can't do the 5:30. Can everybody else do the 7 p.m.?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. All right. Mary Elizabeth, can you let them know 7 p.m. on the 22nd will work?
Yes, ma'am. There will be a special meeting notice put out for September 22nd at 7 p.m. and there will probably be snacks.
Yes, thank you.
Is that tough for everybody, the 7 versus the 5? Does it matter? Or, cause I could.
I only wanted to ask if there were gonna be snacks at the 5:30, but she just said there's gonna be snacks at 7, so we're good to go.
That's it.
Okay.
Priorities.
Yes, sir.
I'm just curious, is that for just council or is that city staff as well?
City staff's welcome to attend.
Yeah, all right.
Absolutely. City staff is welcome to attend any of these public meetings. In fact, I'd encourage it.
Sure. Yeah, no, I understand. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll send Mary Elizabeth, if you can send an email out to department heads, letting them know of the special meeting. Should they or their staff want to attend and listen in. Any other questions on this topic? All right.
Actually, I should totally know this. Do we have a temporary city administrator?
If you can, your micro, oh, because the question was, do we have an interim city administrator? No, we do not. We did. You're gonna make me say it. We did, but after working with the department heads and speaking with department heads, it just kind of came about that we didn't really feel that it was a lot for the interim to do in the short span that we were going to have it. So the department heads and I are working closely together. All right.
That's good to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yes, it'll be a public meeting because all council members will be there, so we have to make it public.
It's not an executive session.
No, it's not an executive session. Not that I am aware of. It's not an executive session, correct? No, it's not.
It'll be a work session.
It's a workshop. That's what, well, since you just sat down, maybe you want to, we were just on the topic of the next stage of what we will be doing with council. And I believe I was explaining that the next step we're going to be doing was the special meeting on the 22nd, where we will be hearing or seeing the list of potential candidates. Is that correct?
That's correct.
This is Dave Zabel, by the way. He is our consultant from GMP, for those, if you have not had a chance to meet him. So we were just kind of going through that to make sure what we were going to be doing in our next meeting, what we should expect from GMP. If you can hit that button.
Yeah, next meeting would be a review of the semifinalist candidates, and those basically are the candidates that meet the minimum qualifications for the position. And then I will have interviewed all of them at that point in time. And whoever else from the city wants to be a part of that, from staff, HR director, mayor, or if they're council committee, or however the city wants to do that. We'll try to rank those and then bring those to the city council and mayor to determine which you want to invite as finalists. That actually will be an exec session, that piece. And partly because of the privacy of the applicants. I mean, a lot of them at this stage, they really haven't shared with their employers whether or not they're looking. And if they're not even going to be a finalist, why expose them to that kind of heat? So next step in the process would be the finalist interviews and so forth. And by then those would be announced by the city most likely. And they'll have had the opportunity to talk to their prospective employers, let them know they're being considered as a finalist.
Okay, from what I'm seeing here is we're going to discuss and decide upon the format for the final interviews, which is typically an executive session. Okay. That's where we're at.
Well, my question was, so this next meeting will essentially be an executive session or the special meeting, not the next meeting, special meeting, because we're dealing with personnel issues, which is one of the reasons why we can have executive sessions, right? And because we don't want to out people who we might end up not even interviewing. It'd be kind of rude. So, okay.
So it's qualifications of a candidate for public office.
So in reading Ms. Monsivai's email, City Clerk Garcia from Monday, she does say, let's see, Okay, during this session, Dave will meet with you and your team to review the semifinalist information and facilitate the selection of candidates to advance to the final interviews. Now, Dave, during this meeting, will we be seeing people's names?
Yes.
Okay, so the next meeting should also be an executive session then,
Yes.
right?
And still open to the public with staff?
No,
Okay.
no, if this reading this and then hearing what Dave said, I'm starting to understand it differently. So it will be an executive session, special meeting with
Yes, ma'am.
only the council.
I have a question.
Yes.
So my understanding of executive session is it's only the council, but the chair can invite people that are helpful, in which case, if I feel like it might be helpful to invite the department heads.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And I was just kind of looking, that's why I was looking at this department heads. Let me correct myself, because when we say staff and department heads, I kind of think of them a little bit differently. So department heads, yes, we
Yes.
definitely are the ones that should need to be involved in all these discussions.
And the clerk is.
Absolutely. And then and HR, but HR's department head. Any other questions or comments? Dave, is there anything else you wanted to share with us at this time?
Well, first of all, my apologies. I thought the meeting time was 7 PM, so.
Oh, workshops are 5:30.
My apologies.
That's okay.
Okay, actually, I did need your final approval or input on the profile itself. So hopefully you've all had a chance to take a look at. I interviewed a number of folks from the city. Obviously, Mayor, yourself included, several council members, number of staff. And we sent that out back to you. And I apologize for the short notice. I interviewed folks as late as, I think, probably 5 o'clock or so on Wednesday or Thursday.
I don't think we got it.
We didn't get a profile.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
Or am I misreading? Are we misunderstanding?
The profile is, what's the flyer, basically?
Yeah, we don't have.
We,
No, we didn't get one.
you don't have anything?
I got a list of where things will be advertised for the position, but nothing. We didn't get a flyer.
Oh, you know what? I see it went to Sean and Norma Hernandez. So this was Monday around 5:20 PM.
Monday at 5:20 PM.
Like
Yeah.
yesterday?
That's right.
Yesterday, yeah.
I don't see it. You might have had an incorrect email address for me.
Well. How long is your meeting going? Maybe we can get those printed and council could have a chance, Mayor, yourself and the council have a chance to take a look at them.
I mean, I'd like,
Yeah. Sean, did you get? You don't see it either from yesterday?
Yeah, I certainly don't see it, but that doesn't mean I didn't, looking on my phone, so.
Right.
If you.
If-
I'm happy to run and put them really
Yeah,
quick, if you wanna.
Let's do that. Yeah, I'll resend it and be back with you in a few minutes.
Please, thank you.
When's the next meeting?
We can just talk about our other things.
Yep. So we're gonna come back to this discussion after we get that flyer printed. I'm gonna move on to the next item, which Ms. Lorraine Ralston with Washington State's Semi-Quincentennial Committee, I hope I said that right, who will present on America's 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Ms. Ralston, thank you so much for your patience.
Not at all. Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you all for inviting me to be here this evening. Next year, 2026, is our semi-quincentennial. It is a tongue twister. It is the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, so a major historical milestone in our country's history. I really wanted to do two things with the city. One was to make sure that you guys were aware that this major moment in history is happening, and also to hopefully encourage the city to get engaged and participate in some way next year. Every state, the District of Columbia and the U.S. territories have established planning committees. Washington State has had a state planning committee since 2022. Our strategy for next year is very much a decentralized, locally led effort. So we're hoping every community around the state will be able to participate in some way, engage with their local communities, and have meaningful events and activities around the America 250th anniversary. We have identified a couple of key dates next year that we're hoping every community around the state will be able to do something. We've got a day of service in June, which is actually a national initiative called America Gives. It's all about volunteering. Every state is participating. Obviously, we have July 4th, which is the culmination of the semi-quincentennial, and we're hoping every community around the state will have some sort of an activity for the 4th of July, and will also be able to participate in some suggestions that we have, just so we as Washingtonians can do things together. We will have a day in August where we hope all the museums around the state will be open for free with discounted admission. And then finally in September, we'll be having a day of civic engagement where we're hoping communities can reconnect people and citizens and remind them of our responsibilities as citizens, and hopefully try to engage specifically with young people in the community, the future leaders of our communities, those younger people who will take us to the tricentennial in the next 50 years. There's a lot going on around the state. We have a lot of initiatives that we're doing to promote local history, encourage local history. Obviously, the state of Washington was not part of the United States during the Revolution. We don't have those immediate ties to the American Revolution as some of the more eastern states do. But what we're really trying to do next year is tap into our story as a state, really promote local communities, promote local histories, local voices, reconnecting communities around the state, hopefully enlightening and engaging with communities around the state for a new appreciation of our nation's history and our state's history and the local histories that we have around the state. So we've got a lot of objectives. We do have some programming elements that we're providing out around the state. As you guys are probably very well aware, the state does have a significant budget shortfall. So unfortunately, the state is not providing any funding for America 250, but we are hoping that every community around the state can find some way to participate and engage with people. And really just looking at all of the things that are going to happen in your community next year, regardless of this anniversary, and just seeing if you can tweak them in some way, reimagine them, rebrand them, repurpose them, and bring America 250 to your community. We do have a couple of asks specifically of the city. We're asking every city, every county around the state, and thousands of organizations around the state to become official America 250 Washington partners. Our partnership program is free. You're not obligated to do anything. You're really just expressing an interest to be part of this in some way. You will receive a number of benefits as a partner, but perhaps one of the best benefits is you will start to receive regular updates about what is happening at the national level, at the state level, and how your community can be part of this. We're also encouraging counties and cities around the state to consider establishing commemorative planning committees to bring a variety of organizations together from your community to start looking at ways that your community can be part of this, to consider what might be meaningful to your community or what's going to resonate in your community. And certainly what you guys decide to do in Walla Walla County is going to be very different from perhaps what they'll be doing in San Juan County or in King County. And that's really the way we're kind of structuring this. We want this this moment in history to be meaningful to each community, and each community can decide how much or how little it wants to be part of this, and how it wants to approach this historic moment. We're hoping that every community can participate in those 4 key dates, as I mentioned, and also looking at some of the suggestions that we'll be going out to the communities and cities with to see if that's something that you guys can do as well. Most, if not all, of our suggestions and ideas and recommendations will be little to no cost. We appreciate that every community in the state doesn't necessarily have lots of money to put toward this. So we are really not asking for anything new. We're asking for communities to tap into what you're already going to do. And for some of the ideas that we do have, there shouldn't be really any cost involved with them. For example, we are going to ask every city and town and county around the state to read the Declaration of Independence out loud next July 4th in honor of the semi-quincentennial. A super easy thing that can be done that shouldn't cost communities anything. And ideally, we'd love young people in our state to read the Declaration out loud around the community. So there's lots going on. I don't want to waste a lot of your time. I think Mayor Elizabeth was able to share some information with you guys. We do have a state website, which will give you a lot more information about what is happening. There's lots of toolkits that we're providing to our partners. We've got lots of information and resources that we're providing out, lots of ideas. We're trying to connect organizations within communities to kind of share resources and sort of build some momentum in each community. We also have a list on our website of all of the groups around the state that have already signed up to be partners. It's broken out by county, so you can certainly take a look through there. We're getting more and more organizations every day signing up. I think we're a little over 450 organizations around the state that have signed on to be part of this in some way. So that's a very, very quick and high level overview of what's happening. There are lots of things that will be going on, not only from the National Planning Committee, but also from the White House Task Force, from the state, from some of our larger partners that are rolling out programming around the state or tapping into local activities. We've got lots of cities and towns with great ideas and are willing to share some of those ideas. So we really do hope that you all will think this is something very important for your community and will be part of this in some way. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Councilmember Cleveland, questions, comments?
No questions, but thank you for the presentation.
Councilmember Espinosa?
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Peterson?
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Williams?
Thank you for inviting us to be a part of this. I do have a comment of something that I will be pushing for our city and would also like the state to consider, which is one of the big ironies of the Declaration of Independence is, although it talks about everyone being created equal, it did not include people like the tribes, women, slaves, etc. And since we were not a part at that point and were added later, I think we are in a unique position to ask ourselves at this 250th anniversary, who are we excluding now and how can we make sure that we don't? And so I would like us to think about that as we celebrate. I mean, the Declaration of Independence is a beautiful dream, but we want to make sure that we turn that into reality.
Absolutely. You're absolutely spot on. That is definitely an approach that we're taking here in Washington because we, as I said, we don't have that immediate history to fall back upon. We are encouraging a variety of organizations, specifically museums and historical societies and cultural groups, to take this as a moment to perhaps not only look at the past 250 years of our history, but look to the future. Look to the next 50 years. What more do we have to do to become a more perfect union? Where are we going? And for us, that's very much a conversation with young people in our community about how do we continually work toward those ideals in the Declaration of Independence. One of the resources that we will have for our partners is a free downloadable historical panel exhibit. We're collaborating with the Western states on this. It is an exploration of 5 ideals from the Declaration of Independence and how those ideals have evolved during the past 250 years. And we're hoping every city hall will have this displayed, every school, every library, every public event. This exhibit is sort of like Legos. You can choose one ideal, you can choose all 5, you can kind of put them together in different ways, and also has an ability to be customized. So each community can kind of add its own information about one of those declaration ideals and how it's been reflected in your community or codified in your community, or how it's practiced every day in your community. So we're trying to give communities a lot of flexibility to tap into that. But you're absolutely right. This is definitely something that we are emphasizing here in the state of Washington.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I will look for those 5 ideals because it sounds like something I could really use in my classroom.
Yes, yes. And we have lots of materials that are for the schools. We've just released an educator's toolkit that's exploring not only the Declaration of Independence, but Washington's Constitution and some of the key legislative things that we have in the state that's part of our history. So there's lots of resources out there. We hope enough resources for any organization to find some way to connect, some way to make this meaningful, and some way to hopefully let people not only commemorate this milestone, but perhaps learn a little something and look to where we're going as a community for the future.
Thank you. Mary Elizabeth, did you want to add something?
I wanted to thank you so much, Councilmember Williams, for bringing that up. A big part of what they were telling us is that retelling and reinterpreting, because Washington wasn't around at the signing, right? Like our tribal story, right? And some of those other things. And something that I'm really excited about is building civic duty in youth. They had this idea of bringing students to work day. We could have like a student who's a mayor and a city administrator and a city clerk and, just kind of like get that kind of engagement going. I had the idea of having like youth advisory commission, kind of spearhead part of this project as well as maybe ed tech. And Lorraine, just to be clear, was the display you were talking about this Out of Many One program that represents our American experience, right?
Yes.
And
the Out of Many One project is something that we here at the State Historical Society are doing to promote local history. So we are encouraging museums around the state to select 5 items from their collections that represent the American experience in their community, and then have the community vote on those items to select 1 item that represents the community. All of those items will be photographed with descriptions. They'll be on our website with a map showing all of these locations. We're trying to turn it into a statewide scavenger hunt. Several cities around the state have already started this process, and they're already voting on their items. They've got posters up or billboard, little easels with signs, and they're taking those around to different places around the community for people to vote. For communities that don't have a museum or historical society, we're just encouraging the city or the town to have some items that represents the community. Some cities have their own artifacts. I spoke to one community that doesn't have a museum or a historical society, and they're just going to go out to people in the community and tell them to look in their attics, look in their basements, look in the garage. Let's find all of these items that represent our community and do this project on our own, even though we don't have a museum. So it's a very flexible thing to kind of show that variety of experience here within the state of Washington.
And Lorraine, is there anybody else, who else is participating in Walla Walla County?
Gosh, I knew you were gonna
Well-
ask that, and I should have double checked.
I just saw that Fort Walla Walla
Fort Walla
Museum
Walla.
and the Walla Walla Library have registered as partners.
Yes, I have to say we've had a slow start in your county, but I am very hopeful that the momentum will start to build. I was there just a couple of weeks ago and met with a variety of organizations, and I do think the momentum will start to build in your county.
It's also a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah. Councilmember Sherman, questions or comments?
No, this is very exciting. Really fun to hear about everything that everyone is pulling together for this once in a lifetime opportunity. Thank you for your presentation tonight and for all of this information.
Thank you.
Councilmember Boyle.
No questions, but I think it's a little presumptuous that we won't be around for the next one.
Well, some of us were around for the bicentennial, so I think for myself specifically, the tricentennial will be a push.
I clearly remember the bicentennial very clearly, so.
But I would love to hear what you guys did for the bicentennial, because obviously it was a memorable experience, right? And we want to if we do choose to participate in this, we would want it to be memorable.
And a number of us weren't around for that one.
You'll have to.
I was 16. I remember everything very clearly.
Councilmember Peterson was 16 and.
I was 13.
Oh, goodness. So.
I did not expect to make it to the tricentennial.
Well,
13.
Yeah.
Stretch.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wilson, for this information, and we'll take a look and get ourselves registered as a partner.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. You have a very good evening.
You too.
All right, we're going to go back to Mr. Zabel and GMP Consultants, and I owe you an apology. I found the email.
Same.
And I was looking, I didn't recognize the name,
Same.
right? That was the first time I saw Ms. Hansen's name, so my apologies for that. But thank you for getting us your patience as we figured this one out. Oh,
Turn on
your microphone, yep.
Thank you for letting me come in a little bit late. Last time I came, I got here early and I had Doritos and a Fanta soda for dinner before the meeting. So I thought gonna get here in time to have a burger or something. This
Iceberg, yeah.
from the iceberg, exactly, right? Yeah.
And you waltzed in an hour late.
Yeah, well, I thought I was 45 minutes early. So my apologies.
Exactly.
So let me make sure you don't have any other questions on where we're advertising or the schedule or things like that. And then you should have the profile in front of you now.
You know, I gotta say, I really appreciate these pictures. They're fun to look at. The pictures that were chosen, I know a number of them were uploaded into the file, and kudos to whoever ended up choosing which pictures to use in this profile. It really highlights the city in a great way.
Yeah, I really like the reservoir picture. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, last minute picture. Our chief of Tamaras went out at the last minute to go take another picture for this. So it was all right.
I think it looks great. I'm always fascinated by people that can take everyone's opinion and just make it like beautiful and professional.
Yeah.
Cause I mean, I know my conversation with you was neither of those things. But it's so nice. Yeah, but this is fantastic. Thank you so much.
Well, good. I gotta say, I got very consistent input from everyone I had talked to. And I probably talked to a dozen people, and clearly people are very proud of the city and what you guys have all accomplished. And you want to see that going. I think there was kind of a constant theme about maybe a repositioning. You've been at a dead run for a long time, and maybe it's time to regroup a little bit. And so I tried to reflect some of that through here.
Mhm.
And, just walking through this, the first page, obviously the attention grabber on that is the photo, but tried to, get the professional, something that would interest them in the position. So that's kind of written for the candidate to say, hey, why would I apply there? The next page really is a little bit more about College Place, what it is, what the community's like, some of the things that are going on in the community and what's around the community. Why would I bring my family here? What would I do when I'm not working? I mean, it sounds like a great job, but what's there to do when I'm not working? The third one is specific to the the city of College Place. The third page is really about what the government's like. So it talks a little bit about the council, the collegial atmosphere that you all have, the relationship with the mayor, the mayor's thoughts on her oversight of the community. We had a good chat about that. And so tried to capture, she's a mayor that likes to empower staff and let them run with things. And excuse me. And talked a little bit about intergovernmental relationships. I will say that it's from the discussions, it sounds like that's a place where council would like to see more work in some respects, but also that you do enjoy some pretty good relationships with the county and a number of other relationships. Sounds like your sister city, Walla Walla, could use a little work on that relationship. I didn't go directly into that, but I wanted to kind of reinforce it's an important thing for council and the mayor.
Yeah, that one depends on the day anyways.
Yeah. And then just, a little bit about the city administrator itself and the opportunities and challenges. And so I kind of describe that repositioning piece as a refinement of priorities. You have a lot of priorities right now. So let's get them organized a little bit and determine which ones are the most important and focus on those with staff. A little bit about succession planning. We had talked about, we have some senior department heads. We don't know when they're leaving, but at some point in time they will. We all do. I did. And, to make sure that we're developing leaders within the organization too, that may or may not be the heir apparent, but they're capable of stepping up and doing the job if they get tapped to do that by the mayor and city administrator. Guiding the path and managing growth. Obviously, you guys, you're on the cusp of some pretty serious growth. You've done a lot of work to get prepared, and you've seen a lot of growth. But I think it's going to be pretty important and a big challenge for the new administrator in assessing what those impacts are going to be, making sure the community College Place stays College Place while you continue to grow. And I think the one thing you're blessed with, and I'll share personally, I was blessed with that in Pasco, is you got a community that actually is embracing growth to some degree. They don't want their community to change, but they feel, or they recognize that a growing community is a healthy community. And if you're not growing, it's probably not sustainable. So some major planning initiatives. Talking about, obviously you have your comp plan update, your periodic 10-year cycle now we're all on. And talked to some folks about the need for a economic development strategic plan.
I thought we had one. Did we not? Have we just talked about it? An economic
We just
development plan?
passed that, the
Yep.
comprehensive economic development strategy.
Yep.
Okay.
And implementation of that plan, right? Some of your long-term land use policies, particularly relating to housing, wanted to make sure we captured that. That was mentioned by several folks. Your public investment, I think, has been very strategic and want to keep that up. And then heard a lot about from electeds and staff facility space needs. So police department sounds like it's a little more than just space. That's has to do with a worn out facility as well as space. City Hall got a tour of a piece of it. Looks a little cramped in there. And
Notice there was no seat for the mayor.
yeah, you mentioned that too.
That's how tight it
And probably
is.
I've met Public Works as well, right?
That's
So-
how tight we are. Yeah.
No, it's pretty not uncommon, you know, I mean, a lot of times when you're busy trying to keep the wheels on because your community's growing, you don't get the chance to focus on some other things. And so that's part of that reprioritization piece. Put some traits in here, and those were pretty much based off ideal traits is what mayor, council, staff would be looking for in a candidate. And those were based off of those interviews. And many of you want to see a lot of the same traits the former administrator had. And some of you want to see maybe a few more. So maybe some different traits. So I thought it was a really good discussion among all the folks, but I kind of wrestled with the first one a little bit about ability to make difficult decisions. I thought, I don't want to scare the candidate off with the word difficult decisions, but that's really what this job is about making difficult decisions. And so end of the day, myself and our copy person wound up keeping it in, but one of the last part of that about maintaining strong organizational momentum is you have that right now. So you don't want to lose a step while you're doing some of these other things. But there's probably some difficult decisions ahead because you have a lot of great opportunity out there. You got some pretty good challenges out there too. So
We definitely need, and I think not need, we can, how can I say it? It's not that we haven't had it. So we've had it, but to make those decisions and not hem and haw about it, that we know what's right for our community, we know it needs to be done. And this person just needs to make that, continue making the decision as our last city administrator did, or with our city's leadership team.
Right.
So absolutely.
So I did pick up on the fourth bullet down, emotionally intelligent, comfortable leading a high performing team. I think that's seemed to be a must for this position, that not looking for somebody that knows everything about everything. You're looking about somebody that can listen, can help directors, council, mayor make good decisions, through information and analysis and leadership. Politically astute is in there. I thought that was something pretty important given the relationships you have just within the community and then outside of the community, and as engaged as the city has been, even in Olympia and to some degree federally. So it takes quite a bit of sophistication for that. So I wanted to make sure that was in there. Obviously the standard in terms of verbal, written, and presentation skills. It's always helpful to have that in a administrator or manager. I think the mayor, the bullet about skilled negotiator and collaborator, one, partnering with people, obviously, and being able to take a position without being offensive, that's advocating for the city. But I liked her term closer, someone that can close the deal. And so, I wanted to make sure that was in here. So little quotation marks around there, those years.
I liked it. I even already marked it. I wanted to thank you for including
you
that, because
bet.
that was really important.
And, in a couple of places we need to close deals, and all of us do it in our different cities, is on the economic development side. Sometimes it's property maybe the city owns. Sometimes it's just bringing two parties together and helping them see the same way on a particular issue and getting them to an agreement so you can have a great development happen in your community. I did have a thing in here too about, energetic and curious and informed. I thought those were good characteristics that the staff and council were thinking about too. That you don't necessarily take things for granted. Why is that way, right? And then the financial acumen. Put a bullet in there about that and then there's some other things in there too, but just making sure that they're going to be able to help your finance folks, your department directors, mayor, and ultimately council, keeping an eye on budget, making sure we're seeing trends early and able to react in a proactive, positive way instead of react after it's way late. So wanted to get that level of sophistication in there. And then education experience from the job description is the bachelor's degree, as well as the 5 years of municipal experience. I think I think that's probably a pretty good mark right now. You know, obviously we'll try to look for someone that even has maybe a little bit more experience than that, but with the market the way it is right now, I think that is, that's probably a good target right there. That gets us somebody that's been doing some things. Maybe a director, maybe an assistant city administrator or manager already, so. And then the one last piece I wanted to talk about, and I looked at your pay ordinance and I can see that the 173 is a pretty big jump, you know, and one, I will tell you that was bold of the council to do that. Appreciate you doing that. We may find it to be a little light in the market we're in right now. So I just want to give you a little bit of a forewarning. You know, if you were to ask me cold on this, I'd probably say you need to be up at about 190. But happy to take it out there and see what happens over the next few weeks and what kind of response we get. And then I don't know if we talked about, if you got a chance to talk tonight about where we're advertising this. And so we'll be basically we'll be nationwide, but we'll be focusing on some states in particular up in the Northwest. So Montana, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, of course. And in those leagues of cities in those particular states, we're going to be doing some West Coast stuff, Western Magazine, which kind of hits all the West Coast. I remember being a young public works director in Marysville many, many years ago. Not quite the bicentennial, but almost. That was when I was in the Navy, it was the bicentennial. But reading that magazine and looking at different jobs, you know, across the western part of the United States. So those are probably the big ones, you know, government jobs, obviously one of them, the big national ones, you know, will be on. And I will be monitoring this throughout the advertising period. So we'll be out there about a month, as you saw on the schedule. I will be looking at things and kind of trying to sort those to make the job a little bit easier at the end. You know, throughout that month, and trying to keep the mayor and HR director updated is what we're getting. If I see we're not getting it, I'm not expecting a lot, honestly, in the first couple of weeks. Nothing like a deadline to make things happen. So people start to file in a little bit the latter period of or latter part of the advertising period. So my expectation would be we won't see anything for the first couple of weeks, maybe a couple strays. But if after that time we get far enough in and I'm not seeing anything, I may be back here to talk to you a little bit about what kind of response we're getting and some things we might be able to do. So, do you have any questions on the profile itself or schedule or advertising strategy or anything like that?
I don't have a question. I do want to thank you for on page 3, the third paragraph where it talks about our senior leadership team.
Mhm.
I think it was really important to make sure that stood out or that it was in there so that the person coming in understands that you know, this already has a strong senior leadership team that keeps the wheels turning, right? And they're not going to have to come in and build that up. So I thought it was really important to recognize our existing staff in there.
I think that'll help sell the position too, that you have a good, strong senior leadership team.
Yeah. It allows the administrator to focus on the administrator.
Right. There we go.
Right. And it gives them time to learn their job, get recognize the city without having to worry about making sure those departments are getting the job done. Yep. Councilmember Cleveland, questions or comments?
No questions. Thank you for all your hard work on this.
Great.
Councilmember Espinosa,
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Peterson.
You know, I'd like to do the Welcome to College place. That's worded great. You touch on, you know, the wine industry and the regional airport. I think is very important to people. Many times this is important and try to get a spouse to be interested in coming here as it is perhaps, or a partner, I should probably say, to come here as much as the as individual. Yeah, it's you said that basically we're kind of looking at the northwest initially so people know about Eastern Washington and I was just thinking what you have here is fine. I'm not
Okay.
Not right, but there are some things I know that when you, it isn't just about College Place, obviously, it's also about, the Oregon coast. There's the Joseph, the Wallowa Mountains, that a lot of people that live here don't even know about. Anyway, just something that's, a much broader area, although you do touch on that obviously here, but, I think in the past, a lot of times the lack of shopping, and whatnot like that can be an issue, but we're not gonna try, you can't make that happen. And if people are buying online and whatnot, so it's not as big of an issue as it used to be, but, yeah,
We don't have shopping, but you can buy online.
we can buy online. Yeah. No, I don't know. I think it's something where I know in the past in healthcare, we tried to get a physician to relocate here. And, hey, College Place, it's a neat place, but it's also the wall, and things have changed over the years, obviously. It's a much bigger draw. But the Northwest is very unique with the national parks and you don't want to put that there, but I'm just saying it's something I think probably in the conversations of people don't. Many times that, they think of Washington State, they think of Seattle or something, that's what they connect to, but, I think this area has a lot more to offer as far as a central hub than just the valley and whatnot. As good as that is, I'm rambling here right now, but I'm just, it's always kind of a connection to what's available within the state, within sometimes a 4-hour drive or something like that, which is, or a short flight or whatnot. But anyway, that's more of the conversations I think when you have in-person conversations perhaps than, to be written down. But anyway, my 2 cents.
Well, I think, I did put a note by Tri-Cities for the shopping and medical facilities. So I don't want to make it sound like there aren't medical facilities here, but I think.
No, I think, we're blessed. I mean,
right. I mean, you guys have a real nice hospital in the area and.
Yeah.
But, I could punch that up a little bit right there. Make folks understand. It's not even an hour anymore.
Yeah. Well,
with your new road, yeah.
And you don't know what rings the bell if somebody's going to come. Is it backpacking? Is it fishing? Is it just sitting at home? Is it doing the winery thing or? Yeah, but anyway, good job.
Thank you.
Councilmember Williams.
Well, to kind of riff on what Councilmember Peterson was saying, it sounds like what you need is when you talk to somebody, find out what they and their spouse are interested in, and then you have a bunch of people that you can be like, oh, you're interested in that, talk to that person, so you have your whole list of Walla Walla Valley boosters. But so what I was going to say is I really appreciate this. I like this a lot, and I like your way of reaching out to people. But I would remind all of us that, as far as I know, most jobs are still found by word of mouth. So tell everyone that there's a really awesome job, and you can hand over the information for them to hand to their friends and buddies, because I mean, that's how you get the best people usually, is by somebody who knows somebody. So don't forget that. And then as you're talking to the candidates, I mean, these ideal candidate traits, I mean, this is what we all want to be when we grow up, I think, I mean, it's like everything. But I think one of the things that is really brings all this together is that ability to meld their vision with the staff, the council, and the citizens. Because everybody has a vision, but being able to bring all those visions together, I think, is really important. And I think these traits, I'm not saying that should go into this. I'm saying as you look at the people as they have these traits, I think that's a way that I will be looking at. Do I think that they can do that? If that makes sense.
Councilmember Sherman.
Just to kind of summarize, I think a little bit what Lauren, what Lauren was saying is, on one of the groups that I'm part of with the county is really being able to offer a work-life balance that you don't have the benefit of in a city where you're also dealing with a commute. So being able to say you're here, but and there's a company who's got an office in Paris and Seattle, and his logical next stop was Walla Walla, because he's not at risk of losing people, because he's got employees now who don't have to commute, so they're able to work and still make it to a kid's sporting event and whatever other thing. And I think that that might be kind of that like intangible that is just that you can still go and travel and do all of these things, but also when you're here, you can actually participate in the life that maybe there's just not enough time to outside. But otherwise, I think it's great.
Good, thank you.
Councilmember Boyle.
I think this looks really, really beautiful. I am really pleased with the way that you were able to take so many different pieces of feedback from so many different people, right? Council staff, so many different groups, and make them into a cohesive piece of what we're looking for. I think that's quite the trick to do. And if we can find a few great applicants that fit these, I mean, that's going to be a really impressive feat. So I appreciate the work that you've put into this, and it looks really, really good. I'm excited to see what we get.
Great,
So,
thank you.
thank you.
Quick follow-up. Something you said has got me kind of a little quizzical or whatnot, I guess. For that pay level, you mentioned you were afraid to scare them away by having to make tough decisions, or what was?
Well, my first bullet was making difficult decisions.
Making difficult decisions.
Yeah.
For that kind of pay, I would, darn well hope that they can make difficult decisions, but yeah, I mean, what were your thoughts on that?
No, it's just marketing.
I
right?
see.
Yeah, I think all of us, we all expect it. I've looked at it just a few minutes ago, and I was saying, yeah, we should have made that like the third bullet.
Oh,
kind of build up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
The lead in, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
That's
Thanks.
all. Unless there's any objections, I actually just might do that.
I was gonna say, are you gonna change it? Yeah, that's
probably
fine.
will. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, thank you. Good. All right, any other questions or comments? All right, just keep me informed when is it gonna go live?
Probably by Friday.
By Friday.
We're gonna try to get it done by Friday.
Okay, wait, will you send me the,
Absolutely, we'll send you the links, everything.
Perfect,
Like that.
thank you.
And thank you guys for that.
Could you let her know the name of the person it's coming from?
I'll send it myself. I'll send it myself.
Would it be possible?
My bad.
I think that may have been what you were referring to. I'm kind of curious as to what the response is. You get, maybe it's too early, but to say you've gotten nobody that has responded, or we've got 15, or I don't know, just to let us know maybe early on.
Oh, I will. I'll keep you updated.
I mean, no names, just, it looks, it's like selling a house. No one's looked at it, So,
Keep refreshing to see how many looks. All right.
And
Thank
I
you so-
appreciate all the good feedback. I look at the ideal candidates too, and I always look at it, feel how short I fall. So I appreciate getting some positive feedback. Thank
Glad
you.
you're not doing the job right.
Right.
Thank you. Safe drive back home.
And you get to head home earlier than planned, right?
All right, so we are on our last item, and Ms. Garcia is going to review the timeline and process for filling council position number 1. We have a cold seat over there.
All right, thank you. A cold seat?
Yes, it's empty.
Oh, yes, yes, sorry, yes. Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I have published a notice in the Walla Walla Union Bulletin notifying the public of the vacancy. The application is available online. I've posted it in all of our social medias that I can. I'm getting nervous. Okay. Anyways, okay. But yes, they opened today, and the application period will close, I believe, August 20th or 21st. Yes. Wait, the 15th? Yeah, okay, the 15th, there we are. Okay, here we go. The following week, the applications will be reviewed by me and verified for eligibility, and then we will schedule interviews and go through that process. I've been watching the videos from the last time we did this. I think when Councilmember Boyle came on, or maybe Jessup was the last one. Was he appointed? He was. Okay, I'm trying to find stuff in board docs, but I've been researching Monica coming on this whole time, but Councilmember Boyle. And yeah, that is all that I have to say about that.
Thank you for all that work. Councilmember Cleveland, questions or comments?
Since the application period to run for the position is closed, anyone appointed wouldn't be eligible, I presume? Like they would, unless they're like a write-in candidate.
There is something, and I will have to ask. That's a good question, and I don't have the answer to it right out the gate. Yes.
No other questions?
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to run unless they try to do a run-in candidacy. Councilmember Espinosa?
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Peterson?
Was Mr. Jessup's, was he up for a reelection?
Yes, yes. But
Is there,
It's running.
yeah, but he opted not to run again prior to even resigning. So there's two candidates that are running for that seat right now that registered
for November?
for November's election.
So the appointment would be for
3 months.
3 months.
Correct.
Okay. Any of those I'm sorry, maybe that was what you were discussing. I missed that. But somebody who had
So
they could interview early, one of the candidates,
sure. One of the
I mean,
candidates. are
anybody
running for that. Yeah,
or well, right. I
It'd
mean,
be kind of embarrassing though.
yeah. So any.
Pick something else.
I'm just.
I'm,
Ballot apply, it's just gonna.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the scenarios.
Yeah, so whoever we appoint's gonna sit for 3 months. And then the election's in November and. Wow, yeah, because that person, because technically the seat ended December 31st, but because it's an appointment, it just goes to the election. And
No, it's still the end.
it's still the December
Yeah.
31st?
First it doesn't start until January
Term.
1st.
Yeah,
The term to win?
so it'll go
Okay.
until whoever we
Oh, yeah.
Appoint goes in
will go until
December.
That's why I say 3 months, because they'll go through December 31st. What do we for?
Yes,
Uh-oh.
Mr. Zabel has something for us, some clarification.
Well, in 40 years, I've been through this, if you.
Help us get this clear.
So
huh?
it'll be, this term would go through the certification of the November election.
That's right.
Yeah, then whoever wins that election would sit for the rest of that term and then start January 1st.
That's what
on
I
their
thought.
four-year term. Yeah, so.
Yeah, see,
Okay, that's weird.
yeah, because I remember that, I believe that's what I did.
Didn't we appoint you?
Yes, that's what I'm saying,
But then you ran.
but then I ran and then I had, and then I was placed.
So then this stuff where we've said that this person is appointed until December 31st is not accurate?
Correct. Just till the election and then and then when the election happens, when it's certified,
At the end of November
that winner of that election,
is able to start early?
correct, yes. Because the seat's empty. Yes. I know.
Even though, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I recollect, that's why it came to me, because that's what I had done. Very confusing.
Do we have to pull the seat?
I was just gonna ask that.
Yes, there is a rule that we have to fill the seat within
That's right.
90 days.
That's right.
That's in our council rules. That we have to fill the seat.
We should reach out to high school students and stuff. This would be a great opportunity for somebody who wants just a tiny bit of experience.
There is rules, they have to be, there's registered to vote, having lived here a year.
Give you a felon.
So there are rules for them.
But I mean, somebody that's just finishing up high school that wants a little bit of experience. That'd be a great experience.
Okay.
And we keep saying
Another mass email.
let me just, let me just go on my rant. But
encouraging you.
yeah, we need to get more young people in here. There should be a minimum of us that remember the bicentennial on the council.
A minimum of what?
People that remember the bicentennial.
Oh.
We need our average age of our council to be, we're a college town.
It's
We have
true.
like 20-year-olds on here. Sorry. Ran over.
Or 30-year-olds?
Anyway.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. What a discussion this was today. I mean, we were all over the place. So let's go to closing items just for fun. Is there any other business for, or good of the order?
Back, maybe?
Thank you. Welcome to Councilmember Williams.
Yeah, I feel like I've been gone so long. I really apologize. At the last meeting that I missed, I was so sick and I was like, city council tonight. My daughter's like, it's Thursday. And I was like, oh.
Mary Elizabeth, the next council meeting, we were discussing, do we have anything on for the agenda at this time yet?
Not yet, Mayor.
Not yet. Okay, please keep a lookout for your emails because next meeting might be canceled because we have nothing on the agenda as of yet. But it could happen. So please keep an eye on your emails. All right. So if there's no objection, I will conclude the workshop at 7:17 p.m. We got kind of giddy at the end, didn't we?
That's usually my fault.
Thank you.
Whatever math is involved.